How can something as beautiful as this be dying? A plague is ruining the land, but the tree of life still stands. Question is, for how long? End is coming to the new world. The tribes stand divided, in need of someone strong enough to unite them, or bring them all down. This is a story with an unusual beginning. So, let's expect an unusual end.
Alright folks, there you have it. The opening cutscene for Biomutant, a game that most of us, if you're watching this, have been waiting many years to come out. I have been playing over the past couple of weeks, and I was able to play pretty well on a couple different machines. The machine I'm streaming from today is a Core i7-8700K, and it's got a 2080 Super in it. It's not by any means balls to the wall, but it can handle its games and everything like that. But I just want to let you guys know what I'm working with today. I'm editing some video together to get out to you guys right now, but the problem was during my 2 weeks prior to this, there was a lot of glitches, there was a lot of issues that kept getting patches and patches and patches, and I thought they were going to be fixed, and judging by some of the other reviews that I've read that have gone online, they are not fixed. Or at least I was not the only one in that boat. So I figured what I do today is the 24th of May, and we are going to play through the first few minutes of Biomutant here to give you an idea of what the game is like, and talk about some of the hits and misses. Look for my full review up on sknr.net, and we will have a much more in-depth, longer video, well, maybe not longer, depending on how long this takes, talking about some of the more technical aspects of it. So I'm going to take you through this here today. The first thing I do recommend is play with the controller if you can. The keyboards, I play with keyboard just fine on a lot of games on the computer. However, for some reason with this game, it just the control scheme, the control seems to work a lot better. Back to this, the opening cutscene is, I think, the first place where THQ, well, no, we don't even call it THQ because they're not the developer. The developer is Experiment 101, and this is their first game, and they're trying to go in big, and they may have missed the mark. Let's just say that. So that cutscene is basically where you'll see in a few minutes. We're just going to replay that cutscene as the opening intro and tutorial. So they could have ended it right after you heard somebody sneak up on our little guy there. We're going to start a new game here. And because this is for the sake of the experience, we're going to play on easy today. I'm not ashamed. I am not very good at games most of the time. I like the story. So it throws you right in. You kind of don't know who that little guy is just yet, but here we are right at that opening cutscene, and your arm has just changed. You're not quite sure what it is, but here we get to decide what we want to do. There are 6 breeds in the Biomutant universe: the Primal, the Dumdon, the Rex, the Hyla, the Fip, and the Murgle, and they all have their advantages, slight advantages over in this side. I just personally prefer, out of all these, the Primal is my favorite, mostly because that's my experience with it at this point. Define your character's attributes, so we're going to go ahead and do that.
Define your genetic structure.
Now you can move this around with your stick, and it'll affect the way your character looks. The smarter the person is, it looks like apparently the shorter the person is. And kind of the wider head for some reason, or bigger head, I guess it would be. Charisma. It kind of walks it all around. And if you ever find one that you really like, but you maybe want to go with a different class in the game, we'll get to classes in just a minute. It does provide the genetic code here for you at the bottom so that you can easily find that. The only thing is, I don't know if you can actually enter that code anywhere. This is just the stat details. It tells you what each one means. That code anywhere other than just moving your thing around to try to find it. So that's a little unintuitive, we'll call it. For the sake of this, we're going to run a random one. Looks like they're putting me down towards the charisma and intellect, and so we're going to continue with that one. It's interesting that it says resilience, and then at the top there resistance. You can have resistance to heat, radioactivity, cold, biohazard. As you can see right now, everything's at 6% basically, and as you move from one to the other, it does change that percentage all around. It's not give and take. So if I move 6 to 9, obviously we have 5% on radioactivity now instead of going down 3. With this one again, I'm just going to go ahead and randomize this for you guys, and we'll get in there.
Choose your first style.
Another one here where you can kind of just go around the spectrum here, which is it's a little odd because it doesn't actually shift. You see there's specific points where it just pops over to the new one rather than morphing between all of these different types of things. I think here it might have been better as a list, but we'll randomize this as well.
Pick your main color.
And yeah, you can choose your main color through the color wheel here of anything you want, and you can adjust your brightness with your triggers here. Again, we'll go ahead and randomize everything here. You get to choose a secondary color or a detailed color. We'll randomize that one, and that's, you can see that's the underlying one there. Oh, there's a good one. And then confirm.
Class.
Now you have your class, and there are 5 classes, and as far as I know, I haven't gone into all the races, but every race can play every class, and each class comes with its own perks. So here we have Deadeye. Deadeye is a tricky, skillful rogue who's chosen a life outside law and society's values.
Commando.
The perk that they get is your ranged weapons are reloaded instantly, and your next magazine is granted plus 20% damage. I'd assume that that's not a all the time thing, at least reload instantly, but I could be wrong. Commando. The Commando is a trained operative, so they used to be working in smaller teams, and the perk there's Fury. Ranged weapons attack inflict 10% more damage to the target. Psy-Freak, and this is something we did not really see in all the videos and trailers leading up to this, but we do have essentially a magician or a warlock, depending on where you look at it or your definition of all that. The Psy-Freak, they use what in this game they call psionic powers, and his perks are Spark Ball. You to shoot a Spark Ball, you press down the input, you have bound the ability to, I know that's a little confusing, or maybe not confusing, but like vague, but you'll see what you actually get some options in assigning where some of your abilities are, even when you're playing with the controller in this game. And then your perk, though, in this is your key energy regens is increased by 20%. And then, didn't finish. The Spark Ball throws basically a ball of electricity in the way that you're facing, hence his hands there.
Saboteur.
The Saboteur, which is the one I've played the most as so far, is a twin silver grip, or he's a skilled explorer trained to operate covertly in both suburbs and wilderness. He dual wields, and he also the dodge energy on this character is reduced by 20% on the cost.
Sentinel.
And then the Sentinel. Sentinel, they basically, I believe these are going to be your snipers essentially. But your base armor is increased by 10 on your perk here. No, not sniper, but they're dedicating themselves to protect a house. Their declaration is for organization as a whole, including supreme belief in their dogma. So, fanatics almost. Gosh, I have played a lot as the Saboteur. I played as the Psy-Freak, which I really enjoyed playing. Let's go ahead and put that one out there since we've seen a lot of the other ones out in videos and everything. So we'll see what this does. Chosen. And there you are. That's how you create a character. And once you press confirm, we're going to slip right back into that opening cutscene. Only you get to control it this time.
Here's somebody with a troubled past, drawn into the spotlight of a story that's already begun.
Now, there are morality choices in this game, and here is our first morality choice.
Is that fork in the road where you make a choice, or simply stop living. But for you, it's not only a crossroad, but a choice. A reflection of your key, the primal energy that flows through everything.
As with most games, you get your good, you get your good, you get your bad or evil side of things. Morality plays big into a few key points in the game, but you'll discover that more as you play through it. we're gonna go, for the purposes of this, we'll just go on
Let
blue.
me introduce myself. I'm the light and bright side of you, or your inner voice to be precise. An echo of balance and consequence of your actions as you move forward.
So now you have a say. You have a say on whether or not, yep, you got it, or maybe it's not for me. Now, no matter what choice you choose here, you're still going to get light side points.
Seems more like you're being light-headed if you ask me, but you'll come around.
I don't know if you get any more necessarily for choosing one or the other.
But what comes around goes all the way back around. So it's better to stick to your instincts. You can't fight what's in your nature.
These two can get pretty amusing in their interactions, but now you've so far have heard all three voices that you will ever hear in this game, and I hope you like hearing that the British narrator voice, who I'm going to refer to as CW, because he sounds an awful lot like CW Longbottom from the show Mythic Quest that's out on Apple TV right now. And for those that don't know, that is played by actor... excuse me, F. Murray Abraham, and season 2 of that has just recently come out. So we're just going to push forward.
Nature, and here I was hoping we'd be all about natural selection, survival of the strongest, and so forth. If that's not instinct, then I don't know what is.
Natural selection is all about evolution and progress, and as soon as there's enough light, darkness will disappear.
And now light +2, aura somewhat light. And when I played through before, it gave me the same thing +2 when I chose the other one.
Right.
But back to CW here. You will hear him a lot in this game. Oh, and here we continue into...
Stories of death and the bodies left behind. A reminder that we're at the mercy of nature and the one that preys on others.
Slightly different, but ultimately it's the same opening scene. But
Do you remember the beast that shattered your family? Or did you choose to forget? You turned your back on our world and got lost in your own. Meanwhile, the predator only grew stronger.
the fur in this game is really interesting. If you ask me, like, the visuals altogether are fantastic. Yeah, and kind of like I said, you don't... Oh, I got it. Didn't get out of the way in time. You don't run from the beast, and there's your shooting, like you do in the cutscene, but it still works. The naming of some of these are pretty interesting. Oh! Left bumper to parry. Ah! Parry, sorry. And there's the Rabbit's Fury. So the game is interesting too because it doesn't matter which class you choose. Everything is pretty much the same in terms of... Oh,
This is not the time nor
forgot about
place
that.
to end this.
Everything is pretty much the same in sort of the basic moves. You have your ranged weapon. The thing that changes the most is your melee weapon. But even those are still based around a lot of the same combos.
It was
Feels
best
a little
to run
unfresh.
and live to fight another day.
Unfresh.
Just hope
Just
you're ready for it when it comes.
same thing, repetitive over and over again. But CW, anytime you come across somebody and it's going to wear on you quickly, it did for me. They'll talk to you, and you'll hear them talking in whatever language it is that they
Predator isn't
have.
the only threat.
And then CW will
The
talk to you
wildlife started
and tell you
to
what they
mutate
said,
when the end of days
and then
began, and the tree of life
rinse and
started
repeat,
to
and it
die.
makes for very tedious, long, unnecessary breaks in the story, especially here in the beginning. melee targeting, range targeting, and the camera. So basically, melee, you just get close to them, you use your melee, and you aim the camera with your right stick or your mouse if you're playing on the keyboard. You can reload using the right bumper. To use an ability, this is confusing too because it's telling you use your ability, but you don't have any abilities yet. So why are you telling me this now? Oh no, that's not true. With this character, there is. I'm thinking of the Saboteur. Right now, he has that spark ball that I can throw at them like that. And when they die, they get a little skull over their head. And when you're finished fighting in an area, you get the slow-mo end like you see in a lot of games these days. And you just move on to your next objective. There are tons of side missions in this game. There's tons of things to do, but there's also a fairly linear path if you just want to follow that as well. It'll pretty much point you in the direction that you need to go. So now we picked up an electric module. It's a weapon add-on. You can attach it to your ranged weapon to give it extra damage. These usually are temporary. Yeah, well, no, actually, this one might not be. There are some. And the cool thing is you can actually equip it from right here without having to go to the screen. So you can, to attach the special effect add-on, select it through the consumable menu. To open the menu, hold the up arrow. So hold the up arrow. Oh, and apparently it's not letting me do it now. Okay. And we get another thing here. A medical bag. Your health doesn't automatically regenerate in combat. You have to use consumables, but it will regenerate outside of combat. You can use a bandage by holding the up arrow and selecting it. So in this case, now that we have something in the wheel, you just go there, you select that. And it's cool because it will not let you overuse. There are always different side areas that you can go off to and usually find some hidden stuff in. In this case, we're going to find a small health pack, yes. It is probably what it looks like, folks. You can tell that at some point in time, this used to be a human world, but we don't know what happened to the humans. And you see lots of remnants of things over time. Collectibles revolve around it as well.
The oil sludges everywhere. To most, it only means death, but some have adapted to the new.
Sometimes it doesn't lock on as well
has its ways.
as I would hope. Remember to parry enemy attacks. When the enemy attacks, you see a lightning bolt flash above their heads. That helps you with the parry. Whoa, get me out of there. That's the other thing about those cutscenes is that sometimes they do more harm than good. The movement on this game is pretty good, actually. And the fighting, the actual controls, and it's actually, is really easy to get once you get the grasp of it. And it's very smooth. It doesn't always work, but for the most part it does. Right there it seemed to have some issues as I was hitting the X button to attack. It just kept trying to do some sort of down swipe thing that wasn't working. Remember to use your healing items. Once you get out of combat, though, I haven't really seen any point where you... I believe it does heal you out of combat, if I remember correctly. I did say that earlier. Yeah, you can see it starting to go up right there. Oh, look, more guys. Oh, kaboom. You can... Oh! You can shoot the barrels. You can use your environment. They can too. That's the thing. Oh! And then they can grab you and do stuff like that.
that up.
Oh. And time does slow down a little bit for you to use your health packs, but it doesn't slow down all the way. Oh, I see what it was trying to do. When you jump in the air, it does that. That's smash down. It's interesting to see some of the stuff that they give you as like items in the game. Now, what you saw me pick up there are Matt's resources. Basically, there is crafting in this game, and so you will be able to make your own weapons, and that'll come in actually here in a little bit. You get to make your own weapons. You get to, and not just you do your range, you do your melee weapons. You get to do your own armor. The armor works a little weird in this game. I'm not sure I like the way they've done it. And you will see more of that as we play through here. Some enemies carry large shields. You need to break the shield with melee before you can do any damage to the enemy. So, like right here, I can't use my spark. Well, actually, I can use the spark apparently. I just can't fire at them to any. And you just gotta keep attacking to break that shield. Then you can just load into it. Oh, looks like there's more guys over there. Oh, yep, there they are. Loading can take a while, so I can see why that perk for loading is a big thing. There's more materials. And we got an upgrade point. Defeating enemies and completing quests will give you XP. Leveling allows you to raise one of your attributes. So we'll go that by pressing the start menu. Or, I know that's not the start button anymore, but that's always been what I've called it. Go over to our character here. And you can increase your stats. And then you also have an upgrade point. So these are actually different. You can increase by 10 any of these stats here. I am a little low on agility, and I can feel it. So I'm going to bump that up a little bit and move around a little bit faster. And now you have an upgrade point. At this point in time, you can only choose close combat and range combat. Right now, and then you have the guns, and this character is unarmed. And you can purchase more combos. So like these are the different combos that you have. We learned a few of these in the beginning. This one we did not learn. And then this one here we can buy, where if you hit XXY, it performs what you see there on the right, which looks pretty cool actually. These are all based on what you have in your hands. Apparently this person doesn't have any melee weapons, or this class doesn't have any melee weapons, so you won't be able to do much with melee on this one, but on the other classes, most definitely. So we've spent those points. Once you have more upgrade points, remember to spend them on perks and special attacks in the Wung Fu. And that's what they're calling their fighting style in this game, Wung Fu. Alright, level 2. So now we're going to push through here. Make sure I didn't miss any goodies. We're going to go there in a minute. It never hurts to look around. I have found things hidden there. You'll find that in the different areas of the game, they're going to give you as you're out, like, hey, this is the legend, like the antiques or the loot. I can't remember the exact name that it uses, but you can find 4 of these in here, or in the really good loot, you can find 1, and it'll tell you if you found how many of them you found. Not what they are, not where they're at, obviously, but they'll tell you what they found. You will find tools like this all over the place in the world as you move through the game, and you will need them in order to move on. So for example, I said I'm going to come to the store later, and this is where we come to it. And now I have the crowbar, so I can... Alright. No, that's right. The crowbar is not for there. It'll be coming up.
That pipe looks weak. The claw bar should come in handy.
That's what it was called. Here we go. And then you mash a button. You're on your way to performing special attacks. Possible special attacks are prompted in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. I have to say, this right here is probably one of my favorite features of the game, because as you're working your attacks, it'll tell you what to do. And like me, as I'm getting older here, I don't necessarily remember all of the attack combos. And even when I'm playing fighting, well, you don't want to play a fighting game with me. But you see down there, if I were to hit Y, it would do the unspeakable hand. So if I hit X, X, and then hit Y, it's going to do that new one that I learned. Alright, let's jump down the pipe.
Whoa. It's time to find a way out of this place. No, really, I mean it.
Now, your guy doesn't really have a name, which I think is unfortunate, because it would be nice to have something to call him. Other than the Biomutant. Alright, here we go. This one's interesting.
Produce biomatter in their multi-organ that they shed under distress. Blobs that affect the cellular coding strands of any living being when absorbed, including you.
Ooh. Pretty effective. Oh, that's interesting. It looks like you can change enemies in the middle of the combo. You absorbed a bioblob. These are points you use to unlock mutations. You collect bioblobs by defeating morts and finding containers at various places in the world. You can use bioblobs to unlock special powers at any time by accessing them in the mutations part of the menu. And we'll go look at that in just a second here. Oh, there are no more guys. So if we go over to character, mutations menu. So here we are. Go to the mutations tab to unlock psi powers, biogenetics, and upgrade your resistances. So now we have our mutations, and you can do biogenetics. So you have stuff like Mothmouth, which this one I was using with my Saboteur, and when you use Mothmouth, it basically has an enemy, or any enemy it touches and affects will fight for you for a short period of time. At 3, and then Vile Bile is you use Vile Bile to press down and spew toxic slush in the direction you are facing, inflicting damage to all enemies hit. So kind of an AoE effect. If we go into our psi powers, we don't have the psi points to upgrade right now, so we just have to stick with the other ones. But you can see there's a pretty, not long list, but a lengthy list of things that you can get as you're moving along. And the psi powers are different for... I don't recall if the psi powers is listed on some of the other classes. But again, I've only played the 2 at this point. And then you can upgrade your resistance for one of these. And right now you have 3. And so we can go into Biogenetics and we can either do Mothmouth or Vile Bile. And I actually will do Vile Bile this time, since do Mothmouth to show you guys what that kind of looks like here. And now, this is where you assign it to one of your buttons. So whether it's when you hold down that L trigger, you can do Y, B, X, or A. In this situation, I think I will do this as B. And there's that. I'll save that bio point for later. You can see there's our aura. A somewhat light aura means being the best one can be, and a willingness to help those in need. And here we go back out to the menu. And now we're going to come and... Oh, I heard chirping. I wonder if our little guy here will tell us that there's something nearby. Maybe not. Maybe he's just chirping, telling me to get a move on. That's as fast as you can climb, it looks like. Let's check over here. Nothing. Whoa, nothing. Down. Lots of doors to go through right now. Another door. Looks like we're in a classroom of some type. Or not a classroom, but a
Toxanol built
lab.
vessels called arks to save themselves from the impending doom. But was it too late? It is only from the flight logs of the single ark they left behind that we know other arks traveled through the sky and beyond. It seems those that came before us never lost hope in finding a new home for their kind.
And I'm assuming that's us that they're talking about there. And you can see, again, all of this just left over from them in this world. Toxanol is the corporation, and you'll find out a little bit more about all of them as we go through. Here we go. We have a rotation puzzle. You found a puzzle. These are scattered around the world. Some open new paths, while others feature different wards. To switch node, use the left stick or the right stick. Or that's to choose which node, basically. Use the left stick to go through. And then use the left bumper and the right bumper to rotate. And remember that right is clockwise and left is counterclockwise. It'll help you to remember that. Then you also have the number of rotations. It says this, but you can't. It's not really showing you. It's right there under the moves left. The higher intellect you have, as it shows, the more rotations you have. So I actually have quite a few on this. The first time I came through, I think I had 5, maybe. Each node has a certain position it must be in to complete the puzzle. Running out of moves before that may have consequences. And that's what they throw you in there with. Now, it's pretty obvious to me, and I'm sure some people, that you have to line up the lights. But that is not as obvious to some people.
Just a few moves left. Make them count.
Maybe it wasn't 5. Maybe it was like 7 or something like that. Yeah, that makes sense. And puzzles will unlock things like this.
There are few records of the chain of events that led to
I'll
the
let you
big
listen to this for a minute.
apocalypse eons ago. But it's clear the world wasn't prepared for how recklessly the Toxanol Corporation would make its mark on the world. Their rare earth mining and nuclear industries generated tons of waste, and without consideration for the future, they dumped it all in landfills until they ran out of space. That's when they made the big mistake. They began dumping the toxic waste in the surf just off the coast instead, assuming that it would sink and decay with time. And they were right, but no one was prepared for what was about to unfold. Once in the surf, the radiation interfered with the genetics of the wildlife and created bizarre mutations in their offspring. It had an inconceivable impact on biodiversity and the entire ecosystem. The world as they knew it crumbled as nature retaliated. It would never be the same again, and what remained of it became ours.
Alright, so you get bits and pieces of story about things that happened long, long ago before we even came into here. Now we're going to run through some more doors as we're trying to get out of this bunker.
The sound of spark metal going pew-pew is never a good thing. It's coming from behind that door. A warning label. The box looks like a potential brain melt.
Right over here.
It's
Another
going
puzzle.
to take a bit of puzzling to short-circuit the door.
Same thing, same concept here. You're working on rotating. You want to make sure you do it in as few moves as possible, so you want to move it in the right direction. See, and then you do dumb things like that. But actually, this is good, because maybe I'll fail this one and show you what that means to fail this. Oh, no, I got it anyways. When you do fail these, it gives you a quick zap sometimes. It's a quick shock, or there's different things that'll happen if you fail each of them. And there are different types of puzzles. Perfectly countering an enemy attack will stun them. A stunned enemy has stars circling above their head, and after hitting the enemy again, you can launch it up in the air by pressing the left button. Bumper, sorry.
The wheeled one is outnumbered. You'd better help him out.
And here we can use our mushmouth. Ooh. As you can see, they're starting to work for me. Oh, I totally missed, but I still got somebody, looks like. Damn. You will find that you tend to end up overusing like your opening stuff a lot. Because they're just effective. Oh, I missed. I still got one of them. Let's get you. Ah, come on. Oh.
That's the last.
There you go.
Let's talk to the wheeled one before backup arrives.
Yeah, pick up. We'll loot our bodies real quick too. Doesn't look like anything else over here. And now we get to meet pretty much our guide through the story. New friend and old friend.
He wants to thank you for taking his side against the scavengers. He sounds familiar. You just can't figure out why. He presents himself as out of date. He knows he's way overdue, but he hasn't given up. He doesn't seem surprised that you don't recognize him. You were just a child back then, the night everything changed. There have been rumors of a one-eyed Ronin seen outside the Great Wall, and he's happy to see it's true.
Now you can skip through these if you want
The
to.
legend of the one-eyed child,
Or it'll just progress as it goes. Like if I were to hit next right now, it would just skip what the narrator's telling me.
The child could have been anyone, but the evil it had fled had left a mark, a facial scar to remember the past.
Other than the initial response on a lot of these, unless it's a moral decision, none of it really plays out.
Covering under that eye patch, isn't it?
It changes what happens in the conversation, I should say.
Exactly like your Muma. There's no doubt you're the child, and that what Looper Lupin did to your village, your Muma and Popsy, was the beginning of the end. He says it has taken you a long time to bring the past back up to the present, to find your way back, but he's grateful you have. It was after the attack that the unity fell apart. Your Muma's disciples divided and formed tribes as a reaction to the blight that had fallen upon the land. The impending threat of the World Eaters bringing down the Tree of Life is ever so close.
I'm sure if I had chosen the other one there,
worries about the Jagni tribe that's
they would have just told me
doomsday,
what happened in a very vague way, because they do reveal it during the game anyways.
Had it not been for the Tree of Life, no one would have survived. He hopes you at least remember the tree.
I almost wonder if the way they do this, it explains what I said just a moment ago. You can manually advance the dialogue, or you can have it do it automatic. And now you kind of are taken back in time, and you play as a younger you. And first we meet Rodent Elvis. I mean, best before. So I'm assuming out of date, best before, same guy.
Asks if you were tired, as it's a bit of a hike here from the village. He wonders if your Mooma knows you.
Now, I said I hope I told her before, so let's see what happens if I don't think she cares. Now, in the hope I told her section, it was just, you're such a good boy, basically.
Sounds like he thinks she does, despite your heart growing dark. There's nothing as powerful as a Mooma's love.
Is the narration wearing on you yet?
He understands why you came all the way out.
Luckily, as you move
see
through the
them,
game
the
further,
potato people.
the dialogue is less and less,
The potato people,
or fewer and far between,
wonder,
further
somehow
between.
interlinked with this little tree here, fueling its source of life.
Now, do you believe in magic? I'm a psionic user. I'm gonna put I don't believe in magic.
Magic? He claims it's just the force of life, the existence of energy, powering and connecting all things living, like the Nono. The Nono prefer to hide in glitter grass. He says you should get over there and ruffle it. See if you can make one come out of hiding.
So now we run over here. Oh, no, actually, we gotta go through the doorway. Follow the path. Following the path is definitely a recommended idea as you start to play this more and more. Because just because it shows you it's over and off to the right doesn't mean you can get there just by going over and off to the right. And here we go.
You found one. You should be proud. They don't come out for everyone.
I guess it is a good thing
The
that you can
Nono's
skip
key
through them, but
is just what the Pensine needs to complete its cycle and grow. The small tree you saw up there where you met will eventually grow into a tree of life and start giving back to nature. It'll be the heart of the land. You'll need to support the tree for a long time to come. The only way it'll grow tall is with the burst of ki released from the Nono as they become one with the tree. You'll need a net to catch the Nono, and he wants you to use his, but asks you to be gentle. The Nono are sensitive beings, an embodiment of ki, the primal energy.
and the hop net is just a tool. You don't actually get to select it or anything. You just, when you can use it, you walk up to something and press Y.
You handle that net like you've never done anything else. He's impressed.
It makes me feel like they kind of missed something
He's
here.
grateful for all the help he can get. There's lots of Nono.
I know you're not
that
supposed to
need
compare
be
other
guided
games to
the
other
roots
games,
of the
but that's what you
Pensine
do these days. And one of the big things that a lot of people had said about this game was that it was going to be very much like a Legend of Zelda type game in this open sandbox world and everything. But by having those tools, something that you just automatically use by pressing Y, I think it took out some of the puzzle solving stuff that they could have put into the world, where you have to try to figure out what to do and which tool to use to get through where you're going. How many does it need?
Oh, it'll need a continuous flux of ki over the 12 months to come, so countless, he'd say. One day, he hopes the tree will have grown tall enough to sustain the world.
I kind of wish the old man, the out of date,
But
would talk
today,
like
your
Elvis
focus
still.
is getting
Or
this one to become one.
have that like Elvis. Yes, I am not very good at that. I mean, all in all, they did a really good job with, like I said, just the background, the foreground, even the movement of your character. The problem is you see the clipping, you get the glitching sometimes that just doesn't need to be there.
Now that you've seen the Nono's connection with the tree with your own eyes, you have no reason to doubt. From this day on, he'll make nurturing the Pensai into a tree of life, a life goal, not only for our village's sake, but for all of us, everyone. One day, the land won't be as peaceful. Not even your Moomer will be able to protect us. You can already
I think one of the
see
things that
effects from how reckless those before us acted, and unless something changes, we're doomed. The land won't survive the side effects of the old world's industrial advances.
I'd
He
hate to
says
think,
you
and
better hurry back to the village before your Moomer comes looking for you. You did good here today.
we'll do this one again. I think the thing here, I understand the concept of why they did it, and it could be to lengthen out the game a little bit, but
That's not true.
we don't need to hear the guy say something, even though it's in a foreign language, then have you take long enough to repeat what he said while we're having these conversations. I think that it's just a big miss on their part. I enjoy
No memory is alone.
the effort they put into the languages and different things like that, but
He says he remembers every single day he devoted to growing the tree of life, but now he's afraid it might be in vain. The tree started to die when the end of days begun.
and
It wasn't long after
the problem
that.
is it's this front end game, this front end of the game is filled with this, and it could turn people away. And I really hope that people can get past this and into the game itself, because once you get able to get out and explore on your own, which we won't see too much in this video. Here's our map of the world.
His friend Gizmo is working on a Mekton and needs help defeating
Right here we're
the
talking about the
Jumbo
World
Pup
Eater
at the
machines.
end of the West Route.
And basically these are machines that you're going to go
Weeks
help.
is still repairing his octopod to confront the Merkpuff that dwells deep down under the surface.
You're going to go help these people fix their machines and use them to attack these big creatures that will help you restore the Tree of
has
Life.
tamed the midget and is preparing to take on the Hoof Puff at the end of the East Route. Finally, Goop is almost done with the Goo Glide, a machine able to ride the waves of the surf all the way out to the Porky Puff at the end of the route to the southeast. Out of Date says his friends are gearing up to stop the World Eaters. There's one at the end of each route. The road ahead won't be easy, but he's counting on your support. His friends aren't strong enough to end this on their own. He wants you to understand that you'll all die if the tree isn't saved.
So this is basically where they'll tell you to go help fix the machines. I wonder what this one is.
He claims names have power, so he gave them these names to weaken them. For him, the Porky Puff is particularly personal. It was that carnivorous beast that took his leg. Regardless, you'll meet again once you've played your part in the tribe war and the situation with the World Eaters.
And he gives you your net. And now we go back out.
You're getting the hang of it.
See? Just walked up, used the tool.
Quickest way out is through the roof where they came in. and the rope looks strong enough to climb.
Jump. I feel like that animation could use some work, and that's weird. Like when you're this, they're looking. You're looking where the camera's looking. Okay, that's an interesting detail. Follow the path, and here's the bigger world.
The tree of life is dying. Its days are numbered. Without help, it can't endure the environmental change and assault from the world eaters.
I think we can probably call that the first half hour of play, not 52 minutes as we're in right now, since I was taking time to explain some things to you guys. We will continue this at another point in time. Maybe we'll go to the next area as we play through, and now it's teaching me how to sprint, which you've seen me do already. We will call it right here at our signpost.
Maps it out for the cartographically challenged.
And these are basically your quick travels. I believe it'll tell us right here. Oh, yeah. Signposts are found near locations of interest all around the world. You unlock a signpost when interacting with it. You can fast travel to a signpost you've unlocked by selecting it on the map. You don't even have to be at a signpost. You can do it from anywhere. To open the map at any time, you press the select button. We're going to call that the select button. And you can place waypoints, and it'll show up on your map. I just noticed that I didn't even realize that before, but you mark the signpost when you interact with it. But that's where we will end our video today, guys. I'm not used to doing this. Sorry if I rambled. Sorry if I'm not entertaining, but my name is Mojo Fett, and I am here for Skewed and Reviewed, and look for the next video.